10 tips how to lose weight fast. This is how I managed to drop 10 kg in about 2 months. And these 10 things that I'm going to say that if you do, you're guaranteed to lose weight. Alright, let's start with number 1. You need to be in a calorie deficit. Calorie deficit is basically where you're eating less calories than your body needs to maintain your weight. And so what your body will do, it will use fat to make up for that calories that you're not eating, and you'll lose weight over time by being in a calorie deficit. Do extra research, watch videos on this, and you'll learn more, and then you'll understand how to be in a calorie deficit sustainably. Alright. Second tip, knowing your goal. Your goal should be being at 1%, losing 1% per pound of body weight per week. So if you're 200 pounds, you should be aiming to lose 2 pounds of body weight per week. If you're 100 pounds, you should be aiming to lose 1 pound of body weight per week. So you need to be aware of this. Don't try and go too high. And if you're going too low, you can do this, but if you're not so let's say you are 100 pound and you're only losing 0.5 pound a week, then be aware of this and know that your goal will take 2 times as long because you're obviously losing 2 times less weight. Okay. Also, you should be aware that your goal shouldn't just be to lose weight. Your weight loss journey shouldn't be temporary. It should be permanent. So you need to be aware that to lose weight and then keep it off, you have to live a healthy lifestyle. So it's not some 90-day challenge that you do and then, well, now you have a nice body. Don't just revert back to your old self and go back to being fat, because that's not really what you want, is it? No. Right. The third tip is eating high protein. So protein is the most satiating macronutrient, and eating high protein while being in a calorie deficit means that your body won't use muscle to make up for the lost calories. So when you're in a calorie deficit, your body will either use the fat or the muscle. If you eat high protein, and also if you eat high protein, then working out is also a good idea. If you eat high protein, your body won't really use that much muscle. But if you're eating low protein, your body will use both muscle and fat. And then you don't want that, because when you're losing muscle, you're just going to become skinny. And you don't really want to become skinny. You want to be in a state where you're muscular and lean. That's what being lean is. Having visible muscle and having a low body fat percentage. So not having much fat in your body. However, being skinny kind of just puts you in a different situation, which isn't really any better. So you don't want to go from fat to skinny. You want to be fat to lean and having visible muscle. Alright, the fourth tip is walking. Walking is the best form of cardio. You should be aiming to walk about 8 to 10,000 steps a day. There's loads of ways you can do this. Instead of commuting to work by car, bus, or any other form of transport, then just walking to the shops, walking your dog. I don't know. There's loads of things you can do. But make sure you're walking 8 to 10,000 steps a day. You can measure this by either getting a watch, like a Fitbit or an Apple Watch, or on iOS, there's an app called Health. When your phone is in your pocket, it'll register how many steps you're doing. And on, I think Android is called Google Fit or something, that also registers your steps. So aim to go for 8 to 10,000 steps a day. If you can go for more, definitely go for that. And yeah, 10 minutes should be about 2,500 steps. So it's not that difficult, as long as you're walking at like a brisk pace. Was that the fourth or third? 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright. Alright, the fifth tip. So if you have an issue with snacking and you snack regularly, the best way to get rid of this is by doing something called intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting has a range of other health benefits, but I'm not going to look into that. You can do your own research on that. But intermittent fasting is basically where, over the course of a day, you only give yourself a small amount of the day where you eat. So one of the more beginner-friendly ones is doing 16 to 8. So for 16 hours so this is a whole day. 16 hours of the day, you're not going to be eating. This also includes your time you're sleeping. And then the other 8 hours, you'll eat. So this makes it 1, easier to be in a calorie deficit, and 2, helps you avoid snacking, because obviously you can still drink water, but yeah, it's a good idea, and it definitely works if you have issues with snacking, or and when you try new things, it's just good anyways. Alright, The best diet you should use. The best diet, I'm not going to tell you anything like keto, paleo. The best diet is something that is sustainable for you. Because if I say the best diet is keto, and then you decide to cut out all your carbs, and you eat no rice, no bread, and no wraps, or any of like carby foods, and those are usually the staples of most dishes. And I don't think it's worth doing something like keto. Also, carbohydrates are the macronutrient used for fueling you for energy. So you definitely need to keep carbs. But the best diet is having a reduced sugar diet. So you're eating less sugar in the form of just teaspoons of sugar. So let's say you drink tea, rather than having 1 teaspoon of sugar or 2 teaspoons of sugar, just drink plain tea. Or you might switch to green tea, for example. Like there's herbal tea, green tea, there's chai. I don't know much about that, but yeah. Other ways, just avoiding eating sweets, biscuits, chocolate, stuff like that. Just trying to avoid your sugar intake on a regular basis. Alongside that, what happens when you do eat sugar, your insulin skyrockets, and then your leptin hormone goes down after you eat. So let's say you're eating a sugary meal, your insulin will skyrocket, and then your leptin goes down. And the leptin is the hormone responsible for telling your brain when you're hungry. So if you have high leptin, you're not going to be hungry. If you have low leptin, you are going to be hungry. And when your insulin goes up because you're eating sugar, your leptin goes down, you start to become hungry. So essentially having desserts at the end of your meal basically makes you more hungry. That means you're going to eat more. So you should definitely reduce sugar. Am I saying cutting out? No, because loads of foods have sugar in it and that's inevitable. But I'm just saying reduce your sugar intake. So this means cutting out foods like, well, this is another one I didn't mention, cereal. Cereal is a food with huge amounts of sugar. Cut it out immediately. It's not good for you. You're going to get brain fog. Just cut it out. Okay, the sixth thing is the foods you should eat. It is you should eat high density foods. Wait, what's that? Is that the sixth? No, that's seventh. Whatever. You should eat high density foods. So high density foods are foods that are high in calories. No, sorry, low in calories and make you feel satiated quickly. So this is often associated with having high protein. So let's say you have a Big Mac. A Big Mac on average is about 540 calories. And let's say one apple is about 90 calories. This is like an apple usually is around 80 to 100 calories. A Big Mac usually ranges from 540 to 550. So you could eat 6 90-calorie apples and get the same calorie intake compared to one Big Mac. After one Big Mac, you're probably not going to be... You might not even be full. That's why, people eat Big Macs and fries. But compared to eating 6 apples, you might not even be able to finish your third. So an apple is a high-density food. There are a range of foods that are high-density. I could list tons, like oats, pretty much any fruits, any berries, all vegetables. There's so many foods that we considered high density. So try and aim for these. All the high density foods are usually foods that are low in sugar and just so in turn low in calories as well. And usually pretty big foods. Is this the eighth one? Yeah, I think it's the eighth one. Working out. You might think that you just want to lose fat or lose weight. You also need to work out. The reason why you should work out is, one, you'll get into a body composition stage. This is where you're building muscle and losing fat, which I think is better than just going for fat loss. Also, working out makes your muscles look bigger, so, well, obviously because you're working them out. That once you finish your fat loss period and you reach your, not the weight... I don't think you should set a weight goal. I think you should set a physique look goal instead. There's something I didn't mention in the goal tip, the second one. But yeah, because going for a weight goal, because your weight will fluctuate, by the way, based on how much muscle you have, because the muscle you have at the start of your weight loss journey might not be the same as the muscle you have at the end. So yeah, also if you only focus on weight, it's not very healthy. Working out, yeah. So the reason why you should work out is, one, you get into body recomposition stage, build muscle, lose fat. 2, you get bigger muscles by the end you finish your fat loss stage. And 3, you'll be better athletically in anything, to be honest. Having muscle doesn't really isn't a detriment to you. Muscles are better for your metabolism. What else can I say about muscles? Oh yeah, working out also prevents your muscles from being used as fuel because you're in a calorie deficit, and you want to retain as much muscle mass as possible to avoid being skinny. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But you have to 100% work out. If you don't go to the gym, you can do something called calisthenics or just home workouts. These are body weight exercises where you only use your body weight literally. So this is stuff like pull-ups, push-ups, squats. To be honest, if you only did those 3 exercises and also maybe calf raises, you'd probably retain most of your muscle mass, and you'd be able to build a pretty good physique. So yeah, you should definitely be working out if you're on a calorie deficit and trying to lose weight. So that was the 8th. So the 9th tip is weighing yourself properly or tracking your progress. So you should be tracking your progress through 2 things: progress pictures, so you can see how you look different by the end of your fat loss stage or just throughout your fat loss stage from when you first started. This helps get rid of body dysmorphia, which is where you view yourself differently to how you actually are. And also you should track yourself or track your progress through weight tracking. And when you're doing weight tracking, you should do it every single day, or you can do it every week. But I think if you do it every week, it can fluctuate weekly based on, if things happen, like let's say it's like a holiday and you overeat, then your weight is going to drastically increase, isn't it? Or if you overeat. So when you're weighing yourself, you should do it in the morning, every day, or like every couple of days, before you've eaten anything, and after you've gone to the toilet, because if those 3 factors aren't set in stone, then your weight's going to fluctuate. Because weighing yourself after eating is obviously going to change, because it's pretty easy to drink 1 liter of water, and 1 liter of water is equal to 1 kilogram. So your weight is going to be different based on what you've eaten, and this is how you get the most accurate result. Also, actually, I didn't mention this, but for clothes, you shouldn't be wearing clothes. You can just wear like a pair of boxers or whatever, but you either do it naked or just wear like the very, very minimal. All right. Again, I keep forgetting. Use the correct scale. When you're using scales to weigh yourself, you should get one that measures you in pounds, with incrementing you in 0.2 pounds each time. I definitely recommend getting one of those weight scales, because then you get the more accurate results compared to having a scale where it shows you the circle and you have to determine just by looking at the arrow, and that's not very helpful, and it just kind of, you might get an inaccurate result because it's subjected to how you see it. All right. What was the 10th tip? I wrote all of these down. The 10th tip is you need to change your calorie deficit over time. So after a significant weight change, you need to change your calories. So when you first start weight loss, let's say your maintenance might be 2,250. Also, your maintenance calories is dependent on your height, your weight, and your age. So the maintenance calories for everyone isn't going to be the same. So if your maintenance at one point, or when you first start your fat loss, is 2,250, you're going to aim to decrease your calories by around 250. The greater calorie deficit you're in, the more prone you are to muscle loss. I definitely don't recommend that. Because I already listed 5 reasons why you definitely should not be why you should keep muscle. So when the greater calorie deficit you're in, the worse it is. I forgot what I was saying. So let's say you're 2,250 at the start of your fat loss. You can do minus 250, so you're lower than your maintenance, so you're in a calorie deficit of 250 calories. So you're eating 2,000 calories a day, and then let's say you lose about a stone, which is really good. Now your maintenance calories has decreased, because I just said height, weight, and age determines your maintenance calories. So now your weight has decreased, your maintenance calories has also decreased. To work out your maintenance calories, use the calorie calculator. You can search those up. But yeah, so your 2,250 maintenance when you first started your fat loss will be different to now. So now you might be at 2,150 calories as your maintenance. Now your 2,000 calories, your, how much you're eating for your calorie deficit isn't sufficient enough, because now you're only eating a 150 calorie deficit, which is still okay, but you want to have the minus 250 at all times, or you should be aiming for about minus 150 to 500, or minus 250 to 500 every time you're doing calorie deficit. The lower end of 500 you should be aiming to do if you're trying to lose 2 pounds of fat per week. You should be going high if you're trying to lose a little bit less over per week. I think that was the 9th or the 10th. Either way. So for everything I just said, tracking your calories, progress pictures, and weight tracking, how much protein you're eating, and your goal. So, all of those things, those 5 things I just mentioned, can be tracked on the app called MyFitnessPal. This app's free. You can get it on iOS or Android. 100% recommend it. This is what I use to track my calories, progress pictures, weight, all that stuff. 100% recommend using this. You should definitely use this. It just makes everything so much easier, and it also decrements your calories over time as your weight changes. Like at the start of my calorie deficit, not at the start, but a while ago, my calorie deficit was 1,960 or something, but now it's like 1,830. I'm still currently trying to lose weight, but yeah, so definitely use MyFitnessPal, the best app. 100% use it. Alright, what else? Now I'm going to cover common mistakes that people do. Alright, first let's start with how many calories you lost from exercise. When people estimate how many calories they've lost from exercise, often they overestimate. So, that's not good, because often what people do is they're like, okay, I just lost 250 calories from that weight training session. Bang, I'm going to eat extra 250 calories today. That's a good idea. No, you probably only lost maybe 100, and now you're eating a 150 calorie surplus, which is where you're eating more calories than your maintenance to gain weight. So I definitely do not recommend eating back the calories that you got from a workout. Also because that kind of defeats the point of doing that workout. Other than just being active, you're not losing any calories from it, so there really wasn't that much point. And 2, you're just going to end up gaining weight, and it's not going to be helpful for you. Yeah, so just don't eat calories back from exercise, and estimating how many calories you lost isn't a good idea. Also, the machines that tell you how many calories you have, that's probably not realistic, because I think that's assuming, because you don't input your weight or your age or your height or anything, because based on your weight, exercise will have a different effect on you. So I wouldn't the number that's on the machines, they're not reliable. I wouldn't recommend those. The next mistake people often have is consuming liquid calories. If you're trying to gain weight, liquid calories are a good way to gain weight, so protein shakes, stuff like that. But if you drink alcohol is usually quite high in calories, or loads of other drinks have a lot of calories in it, so you definitely need to go on MyFitnessPal, write down these drinks that you're drinking, and then you'll see how many calories you're eating. So, like I said at the start, your goal should be building a healthier lifestyle. Cut out alcohol. There's no benefits to alcohol whatsoever. Alcohol, your liver, causes fatty liver, then can cause liver failure. On your brain, it damages your nerve cells. I don't think I need to go into why those are bad, but they are not good. Also, drunk driving, that's also an issue. Do not get into stuff like that. But yeah, so cutting out liquid calories, or being aware of what liquid calories you're eating or drinking, yes, is definitely important. Next thing is when you're in a weight plateau. So this is what happens when you don't decrement your calorie deficit you're in. So let's say you're like 10 stones, 10 stone. You go down to 9 stone through your calorie deficit. And now you've kind of stopped losing, you stop losing weight. Now for the last week you've been at 9 stone. What you should aim to do is to get out of this weight plateau. Sorry, you should increase the amount of steps you're doing and decrease the amount of calories you're doing. Definitely, you should 100% be doing that when you're in a weight plateau. And this one gets you out of that weight plateau, and 2, just when you see weight plateau, often people give up at that weight plateau because they're like, oh yeah, now it's over. It's not over. You can always still lose weight or lose fat. in this case. So definitely when there's a weight plateau, increase your steps, decrease your calories. That's probably why you're not losing weight. What else was it? The cardio that you're doing. Doing cardiovascular exercises isn't the only way to lose weight. So most of weight loss is just being in a calorie deficit. The cardio you should be doing is walking. I already mentioned 8 to 10,000 steps, but a lot of what people do is they do too much. They do not walking. You can't really do too much walking. Well, you can, but doing too much general cardio. So, for example, HIIT workouts. Don't do too many HIIT workouts. Don't do too many 30 minutes intense biking. All you need is walking. Is the most underrated way to lose fat and is the easiest, simplest, the best way to lose fat. Walking a lot. Don't start doing 5 HIIT sessions a week. That becomes unsustainable. Because realistically, you have your whole entire life to fix your weight and lose weight and fix your nutrition and get into all this stuff. You have your whole life to this. So if you make big steps at the start, then it's not sustainable. It's like climbing a ladder. If you jump too far ahead, you're going to fall down. But if you make small increments and small steps, you'll reach your bigger goal much quicker. Or you'll reach your goal much more consistent. Because consistency is better than failure, pretty much. So yeah, don't do too much cardio. All you need is walking. Don't start doing 3 HIIT sessions a week, 5 HIIT sessions a week. Too much. Alright, that's cool. Also, don't do intense bike training or 10-mile runs in 10 minutes. No, you're doing too much. Just walk. You can do extra if you want. If you're an athletic person. Personally, I play hockey and I play a little bit of football with my friends. Do that as well. I'm not discouraging you from doing that. Or if you enjoy doing HIIT or you enjoy doing intense biking or running, then keep doing that. But don't make it to the point where it's too unsustainable. Because then you're going to get out of your fat loss or weight loss. And then you're going to be at the point where you just give up. You revert back to your old self. You go back to an unhealthy lifestyle. You gain all the fat back. It might get even worse. You might gain even more back. And then it's not a good idea. It's just getting worse and worse and worse for you. Alright. Next tip is... next mistake people make is... misconceptions about carbohydrates. People think if you cut out carbs, you're going to lose weight. That is not how it works. Carbs are your fuel. They're your energy. If you cut out carbs, you're going to feel tired, everything, fatigued. Just go up the stairs, you're going to feel tired. Is that really what you want? No, it's not. So yeah, misconceptions about carbs. Do not fall for them. Keto is not the best diet. The reason why people say keto, paleo, all these diets work is because they make it easier to be in a calorie deficit. This is also why I recommend intermittent fasting. Beyond its, health benefits, intermittent fasting is great because, you can eat basically anything. So yeah, don't fall for the trap of, just cutting out carbs, you'll lose weight. That's not how it works. I already covered not weighing daily. Weigh daily or weigh every 2 days. Because if you weigh weekly, you might have let's say your starting goal is 10 stone. No, your starting weight is 10 stone, you're going to 9 stone. Let's say in the first week you lose about a pound. Okay, that's good. And then the next week you had loads of friends over, you had family, it was like Christmas or something. Your weight has now increased by 2 pounds. And that's if you do it weekly. Now let's say if you did it daily, you'll see that your weight is slowly incremented over the days, and then you'll notice that because you're obviously looking through it, because you're using MyFitnessPal, and then you'll see, alright, so over the last 2 days I've gained a bunch of weight, so for the next couple of days I'll try and avoid doing that, and avoid overeating, and I'll try and log my food. So yeah, definitely weigh daily, or at least weigh very, very regularly. Weighing every week will give you misconceptions and will give you false advice. You don't want that. Well, it won't give you false advice, but you'll get an incorrect idea of how your weight loss is going. Excuse me. Should be permanent. Ooh, there's something else I was gonna say now. Think about it. What was it? Weight loss should be permanent. Should be all about building your life as healthier. Oh yeah, this one was not making too big lifestyle changes. So personally, I eat quite traditional food. My mum makes that regularly. I eat rice and curry on a regular basis. So instead of me deciding, okay, I'm gonna cut out all the rice, all the curry, and maybe I'll just eat like bread all the time or these wraps. Bread and wraps are nice, but when my staple food is rice and curry, cutting out rice curry is not a good idea. Because what I did when I first started, I was trying to do all the cooking myself, which works, but I have exams. I'm a student. That's not a good idea. I need the time to revise and study. Obviously, I'm not spending all my time revising and studying, but you know, expending 1 hour, 2 hours a day because I'm cooking this stuff every single day is not a good idea. So, you shouldn't make too many lifestyle changes. The main one I see is doing diet and nutrition. I mean, personally, the way I managed to change this was instead of I started eating less rice and eating more of the meats and all the stuff. And I also started taking less of the oily stuff that comes inside of the curry, and I only really took the meats, and I ate a little bit less rice. I definitely recommend doing that if you're in a similar situation to me and you eat traditional food like rice and curry. Eat less of the carby stuff and eat more of the meats or fish or whatever for the protein. Um, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's everything. Um, yeah. Actually, I forgot to mention on the high protein tip I said, foods that are high in protein are prawns, shrimp, tuna is crazy high in protein. You get like 25 grams of protein for 110 calories. Also, I also forgot to mention this as well. You should be aiming to eat 0.73 or zero point 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So if you're 100 pounds, 70 grams of protein, 200 pounds, 140 grams of protein. You should definitely be aiming to eat this much, because if you eat less, you're more prone to muscle loss. If you eat more than that, there isn't really an issue, but besides cost, because there's no detrimental effects from eating too high protein. So like I was saying, shrimp, prawn, what else foods are high in protein? Chicken's high in protein and low in calories. Beef is high in protein but also high in calories. So if you're trying to gain weight, definitely eat beef over chicken. Tuna I just said. I also just said chicken. Fish is a good one. Other than tuna, salmon is pretty essential for the omega-3 fatty acids. But yeah, do your own research. There's loads more to what you can do, but doing everything I just said you do and avoiding all the mistakes that I mentioned, you're guaranteed 100% you will lose weight. Alright. Peace.